G'day guys, and welcome back to the channel. I've been outside this afternoon doing some gardening and it's pretty warm, and yet this morning I had to light the fire. So crazy weather in spring in Australia at the moment, but it's pleasant today. We have to though get something out of the emergency storage shed. I didn't look up the episode. I think we're 140 something. I'll put it in the title. So this week we're going to get another mystery box from that corner pile we've been working on. We've had an amazing array of weird and wonderful stuff over the last few weeks. Pretty good value to sell in the shop. Really nothing much that I've kept, I don't think, which is good because the aim is to reduce the amount of clutter I've got here. So let's go and find a box today and meet our obligation for this week of something out of my emergency storage shed. It's really starting to empty out down this corner now. We got the box off the top of that cupboard last week. Now we're going to tackle these ones. Once this small pile's gone, we can move that cupboard out, which is awesome. We're getting further and further into this shed. We are past halfway now. We can, I think we can, yeah, we can see the back wall down there. So that's awesome. We still have lots to go though. If you're enjoying this series and don't want things to end, I reckon we've got at least another 12 months and we're going to find some pretty amazing stuff in that time. Our total, for those just joining the channel, I've estimated around about $25,000 out of this shed. In fact, when I say estimated, most of it has sold. I have a second-hand shop. I do sell some stuff on eBay. And while I'm talking to you, let's have a lift of this tray and see what's in this box. So all this stuff came from other people's sheds over the years. There's a magazine. Because in my capacity as a second-hand dealer, I often buy deceased estates and take the whole house lot. And a lot of it's been boxed up over the years. Oh, tins. And more cute cats. Who remembers the last episode with those cat calendars? They are in the shop. I do have to disappointingly report that they haven't sold. None of them have sold as yet. But a few people have been looking through them, and I heard someone going through the dates the other day. So they've only been in the shop for 2 days. So I reckon we'll sell them to people as birthday gifts. There's some nice tins in here. Oh, and paperwork underneath. Oh, who knows what's going to be in that. Cards and letters. Probably a bit of personal stuff. All right, let's get this through to the bench and sort it out. This stuff came from a deceased estate we did about 5 years ago, and there is a playlist on it, and there was a lot of old radio equipment, and I mentioned this in the last video, I think. So these boxes are from that house lot. I'll put a link to that playlist underneath. I probably won't add these to that playlist though, because if you finish watching that playlist, no doubt you're watching this one as well. So it was a deceased estate clean out. The property is sold. Typical situation. We got a call from the real estate company to say, do you clean up places and will you do a good job and leave it empty by a settlement date? And that's exactly what we do. We usually get the key to the place, make sure we do a good job, because that way we get lots of referrals and all of the local real estate companies know what we do. Different to an antique dealer or even just a personal collector or someone that likes to do cleanups, in that we specialise in the service of emptying sheds, houses, and we won't do strictly rubbish removal because we like to pay out money. We like to give people money for what we get, and if there's too much rubbish, it's just not worth our while. We've got enough work without worrying about that. And if you're dealing in a lot of rubbish, you've got to get the right equipment. You can get some pretty awful places, I'd imagine. We've found some interesting stuff over the years, and a lot of really good treasures. So let's have a look in this box and see what's in here. I think all the tins are empty. Well, maybe they're not. Let's have a look. Well, on top was a tray. Oh, actually it's 2 trays. Probably not much value here. They look as if they're just about new. I'm probably dazzling you guys with reflections, am I? Vintage trays. They're not super vintage. I'm guessing 1970s maybe. The sticker says made in China, and it's not modern made in China, but it's probably could be 80s or 90s. So we might just get $5 each for those. They're fairly thin, they're not really good quality, and they are just steel. So I don't know, we might not even get 5, we'll see. There's a single magazine here, but there was a lot of amateur radio magazines and vintage electronic magazines from this house lot. The gentleman was into ham radio. I believe he was in he was a radio operator in World War II, so he had a lot of vintage electronic stuff, which was pretty cool, and I've still got some of his test equipment here. Don't know if that's worth much. 2005, it's probably too modern. Right, let's have a look at these tins. More cat stuff. These will sell quite well. They're going to be varying ages. That one's got a barcode, so it's probably, there should be a use by date on it somewhere for whatever was in it. Biscuits, I think. There's no easier way to date things than look at the use by date. I can't see one. It is Arnott's, and Arnott's tins are collectible. So we'll get something for that. This is a much older tin, and that's a beauty. A.W. Allen, Melbourne. So it's an Australian tin. Allen's were biscuits, I think, or sweets. I think they were sweets. Contents 1.5 pounds net. Well, Australia went to metric with weights and measures in the early 70s. A lot of people get confused with that. We went to metric. Oh, there's letters in here. Okay, some of this might actually have to go back to the family, which are still over in the town we cleaned out. All right, I'll have to check that out. So our currency went to decimal currency in 1966, but the rest of the systems took quite a while to implement, and it went through into the early 70s before they changed all the weights and measures to from imperial to metric. That's a nice old tin as well. It's Melbourne tin. Swiss wafers. What's the company? It's the Swiss Wafer Company. I don't think I've even heard of that. They look delicious. I remember those wafers as kids. They were really nice. And I bet you, even if you could buy them today, I bet you they're just not the same. So that's a nice old tin in good condition. That will clean up quite well. It's a little grimy on top. But they're going to be like $10 tins. I think this one's probably going to be even better. I think probably even 15 to 20 on that. Really nice collectible tins. Here we have a cardboard box with some cute cats on it. This looks 60s or so. More letters and personal stuff. I had no idea this was in here. We may not have even known when we packed the place up, because you don't have time to go through everything. You pretty well just pack boxes, load the van, bring it back home, unload, stack it somewhere, go back and get another load. And quite often, when I'm unpacking these boxes in the series, quite often it's the first time I've ever seen some of this stuff. Dogs this time, very cute. Anticipation, what are they anticipating? A treat? Probably, or a walk. I know Coco gives us that sort of look when she wants a walk or a treat. So that's Allen's as well in Melbourne. It would have been maybe toffees or something. I don't know if Allen's did biscuits as well as confectionery. Cute little cat tin there. Teasdale and Company, Carlisle. That's probably an English tin. I don't think there's anything in that. Have we ever found money in tins? Well, yes, we have. Not huge amounts. I know some dealers, I can't get that open, but I'm pretty sure there's nothing in it. I know some dealers have found substantial amounts of money over the years. We have found some really nice jewellery and lots of other treasures. That's a nice Cadbury's chocolates, which was Tasmania. Chocolate box, so a cardboard box. Not a lot of these survived. It's not in the best condition. And there's a lot of greetings cards. So what do we do with these? Well, they can go in the recycle bin. I presume they've got names in them. I won't show you that. Yes, they have. But we have been known to just hand them to the school for the school kids doing artwork or anything like that. It's a bit difficult when they've got families' names in them, so these might have to go in the recycle bin. But there's some that are blank, I think. Happy birthday card. No, that's all got names in it. All right, I probably should check through the birthday cards to see if there's any money. I don't know about you guys, but I used to get cash in birthday cards when I was young. It actually still happens these days. My birthday was just the other week, and Mum gave me some money in a card. Isn't that nice? Only a couple of pages in a notepad, and just some notes there about knitting, so that can be recycling. So probably a lot of recycling stuff here. What's this? More greetings cards. It looks like it is. Everyone kept greetings cards. Heaps of it. These look like, yeah, sympathy cards. So what do you do with these? I think they've all got to be recycling. At least they will be recycled. I'll flick through them and make sure there's nothing mixed up in them that's too good to go into the recycle bin. Alright, so I think we just have... Alright, well that's not greetings cards. Oh, old recipe books. Now these are cool. So a lot of people clipped out recipes from the papers. This is actually a recipe book with lots of extra notes in it. People love these. I've actually sold lots of recipe books over the years. So we'll pull that bag out in a minute and go through those. Looks like we have some old linen. Probably not much good. Not even sure what that is. It looks like a scarf. Yeah, with big holes in it, so that's all rotted, I think. Yeah, look, it's falling apart. So there's no value in that at all. It'll probably have to go to landfill, that, because there's no textile recycling here anymore. There used to be. Very disappointing that it finished up. There's little notebooks here. It's a Country Fire Authority CFA notebook or diary. Nothing written in it, unused. Back for 1985. An elder's notebook. It's got the name again. There's lots of metric conversions and things, and just blank pages for your notes. Don't think there's much value in that. Bit more fabric. What's that? Hang on, is that are they hankies? Like silk handkerchiefs? With cats. There's still a little thing on the corner here, and it says, I think it says Swiss fabric, 100% cotton. So yeah, they're not silk, they're just cotton. Well, I think they'll probably sell cotton handkerchiefs. Are they all cats? I guess they probably would be. Yep. How cute's that? Alright, so they will sell. I hope I get some cat lovers in the shop soon. There's a nice old Toffees tin by Griffith Sweets. That was a Melbourne company. In good nick again. And there's something in this too, probably more papers and things. Looks like some receipts. So there's a little, oh, that's interesting. There's a little booklet with the dispensing chemists in Elmore, which is a Victorian town. Not that far from here. Phone 14. So that's going back a bit. And there's, oh, it's just a notepad, but it's got a calendar for 1955. Shopping list. So that's the sort of thing. I probably will, I have given stuff to the Elmore Museum before, actually from this house cleanout. So I might make a little pile of Elmore information to go back to the local town. I think what I'll do is I'll probably go through this off camera and just show you any interesting bits that I find, just to save time. Here we have a notebook with various notes in here. And that's the back of probably a recipe book or something. Alright, this is going to take me a while to go through. Home cookery for Australia, and that's in terrible condition. Oh, in fact, that's the cover, that's the book. Home Cookery for Australia, all tested recipes, 2nd edition. 1906. How's that for an early cookbook? Amazing. And the body of the book's actually not in bad condition. There's an advertisement here for what's that, a stove? A gas stove from the Metropolitan Gas Company, Flinders Street, Melbourne. That is a ripper book. It's a shame the cover's not in better condition, but that's certainly worth selling. And there could be some amazing old school recipes in here. 1906, what a ripper. Alright, we have lots more. These look like all greetings cards of some sort. And more. Now there's some other books in here. Oh, that's just brown paper, is it? A brown paper bag? Or brown paper? Yep, so I think they can go in the recycle bin. Don't think there's a market for vintage brown paper. Yeah, there's lots of parts of books in here. There's a New Testament. So I guess it never hurts to have a bit of faith while you're cooking, hey? The Methodist hymn book. So not only faith, but you can perhaps belt out a few hymns while your cake's cooking. All right. Here's a little Benson and Hedges cigarette tin. And what's in it? Oh, all sorts of wonderful bits and pieces. Well, they're not wonderful. All sorts of bits and pieces. Staples, paper clips, drawing pins, an old eraser, and the perforated edges off stamps, and some airmail stickers. So, absolutely zero value in there, but I will just have a bit of a look as I tip it out, because it's amazing. You can sometimes find coins, little medallions in these sort of little trinket tins. Tourist information for London. That has a bit of a 70s look to it. Have a look at the dress there, and we've got reflection happening. Looks extremely 70s to me. Okay, probably not really interesting enough to sell. A diary for 1982, and there's lots of handwritten stuff in here. That's, yeah, interesting. Maybe that should go back to the family. A book about cats, of course. Some clippings from newspapers. 1962. More cats. That's a box, is it? Oh, it's got probably recipes and stuff in there. Cat Protection Society of Victoria. Now, the name on these books that I'm seeing wasn't the name of the people I bought the stuff off, but I think they would have been perhaps the previous generation. A lot of receipts there. NASCO accelerator. I think that's just a envelope that's been used for lots of newspaper clippings and things. Goodness me. 1930. Not sure exactly what the clipping was about. Fashions in the 1930s. Alright, I'm going to spend a bit of time going through this, because I don't want to throw out anything that might have some value, or both value for me and historic value. Here's some receipts here with the stamp duty stamps I used to use. It's a Victorian stamp duty stamp, 3 pence. 1957. I think that was a government's method of collecting some tax revenue using duty stamps. Do You Know book. That's a interesting little book. It looks probably 1950s or 60s. And Lifebuoy. Lifebuoy was a soap, I think, was it? And there's lots of just information, all sorts of information. It's probably aimed at kids. Nice little book there. The Spirit of Christmas from Reader's Digest. I don't think there's much value there. Some more books here. What are these? Diaries and notebooks. That one's pretty much empty. We have the Psalms and church hymnary. Some of that stuff does sell. It doesn't bring a great deal. Here we have is this an entire magazine? Oh, it's a thing about the Queen Mother. It's a UK publication. Possibly 1970s again. Has it got a date in it? The Queen Mum's 75th birthday, so I guess you could work out when she was born and work out the date here. It says 1976 here at the Badminton Horse Trials. So yeah, 1970s. Royalty stuff's pretty hard to sell. Little notebook here. Oh, Laughter, the Best Medicine. I remember reading that in Reader's Digest years ago. Oh, here's the Elmore Standard newspaper, 1947. So I would assume the museum has copies of all their old papers, but who knows? I know our museum actually had a fire and they actually lost a lot of the early newspapers many years ago. So I'll put this aside for the Elmore Historical Society. Health booklet. That's going back a fair bit, I reckon. Alright, just about general health. Doesn't have a date. Oh, it's got a 1935 calendar in here. So that's a cool little booklet. 1981 diary, so we're jumping around through the years. Lots of loose stuff. And when we packed all this, it would have been in a cupboard or something, and I would have just grabbed one big armful and dumped it in a box and say, I'll get to that later. And, whoa, it's later. This looks like some sort of, 1921. Some sort of deed for a property. Conditions of sale, public auction, 1921. Interesting. Alright, it's not in very good condition. A booklet here, Physiological and Phrenological Chart by Reverend J.J. Brown, 17th edition. Okay. And it dates to, alright, we have Roman numerals here. How good are your Roman numerals? M's 1000, D's 500, then 4 C's, so we're up to 1900, and 2 X's is 20, 1928. That's how I make it. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you can read that, when I'm editing, if you can't read it, I'll put a photo up. 1928. That's in pretty good condition. A medical book from 1928. Another newspaper here. The Elmore Standard. And Elmore wasn't the town I cleaned out this house, but I knew some of the family came from Elmore. 1948 newspaper. Not in bad condition. Okay, just a paper bag. Something that's been typed up. EPA News. 1975, the Elmore Progress Association. Well, they may be interested in that too. 1975 is, 50 years ago. Bible stories, nice early book there. These were often given to kids for school attendances, and that's what I think this one was. Bible stories. What date have we got here? I'm guessing perhaps 1940s. Not going to have a date. Not in the best condition, unfortunately, that one. The cover's come off. 1980 diary. Some more figures here. It looks like a rainfall chart. It is. Elders rainfall for the year 1985. I think that was a drought year. Well, maybe not in this area. It was over in Matoa, where I come from. No, 85. No, I don't think it was a drought year. Earlier in the 80s was. Okay, that's just a novel. Getting near the bottom of the box, there's a little calendar for 1973. A daily light on the daily path. I guess that's a religious thing. And just lots of loose bits and pieces. A knitting book. A magazine here, The Woman's World. Price 6pence, November 1942. So during World War II. And an ad on the back for Roba tea. I think the ads are the best part of these old magazines. Look at the china. Very nice. An exercise book here. There's a nice old one. And what's in it? It looks like there's lots of receipts, probably bookwork and that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's like a ledger book. Receipts and expenditure. Another one here. Oh, that's... Some of these books are stuck together. I think they've been wet. Although they wouldn't have been wet in my shed here. I don't think they've been wet. It's just the material of these books are stuck together. So more bookwork stuff here. I don't think that's of much interest. Loose bits of paper. There'll be a lot to go in the recycle bin. But we need to pull out some of the gems. Well, here we go. Look at this. Professional advice. Nurse, always give Aspro because Aspro is the best and safest. Well, there you go. Are you convinced? An Aspro yearbook, 1940. That's cool. Alright, so that's a saleable piece for sure. None of this is going to be worth a fortune, but $5 to $10 for some of this. I think I'd have $10 on that book. That's a great advertising book. All right, just about at the end. Oh, there's another Aspro book. 1939. Newspaper clippings from 1947. Another, is it a religious book? Life's Finger Posts. Or is it just... Yeah, I'm not sure if it's religious or not. Bits of newspaper again. We have another Aspro yearbook, but it's lost its cover, 1935. And another one, 1938. Oh, the cover's torn. And that's about it in the box. Little wallet here. What's in the bottom? Is there anything in it? No, just a little leather wallet. Like a key wallet. That's the end of our box. Well, I've got some paperwork to sort out. I might go and make a cuppa and sit down and go through all this. And I'll probably put the recycling back into this box, and it can all go in our recycle bin for cardboard and paper, so it will get recycled. And I think a fair percentage of it will, actually. I'll only pull out the few little treasures. We've got some nice tins. It's going to add up to a fair bit. It'll be surprising what we get out of this lot. Okay, we'll start with the recipes. This was a recipe book, but there was a lot of loose leaf ones, handwritten notes. Oh, that's a fundraiser book for the Elmore United Church Mission Group. There's some typed ones, the easy 2-egg pavlova, and there's lots of handwritten stuff. I didn't really want to throw out because there could be some amazing old recipes in here. So I thought I'd sell this in one lot for someone to go through. Recipes are written on the backs of envelopes. They're written on the inside covers of old books that have fallen apart. And then there's notes through this recipe book as well. Sponges and rolls and all the wonderful old stuff that, look at that. We used to have cakes like that for afternoon tea when I used to play tennis back in the 70s. It was always a bit hard to get going after afternoon tea because you'd really enjoy yourself. Some nice old ads as well. So yeah, there's some amazing old classic Australian housewife recipes in here. So I'll sell that as one lot. I'm probably only going to ask $10. Someone will love that. There were some more modern recipe books that came with equipment, and the SEC, our electrical, the State Electric Commission, I think it was, came out with a lot of books. These are probably 1970s. In fact, I think that's a duplicate. Oh no, slightly different era. There's one there that came with a stove. Again, probably 70s, and one with an electric fry pan, again, probably 70s. State Electricity Commission of Victoria it is, and there's lots of interesting recipes in there as well. They'll probably be $5 each. I don't know how I'll go there. I do have a lot of those in the shop, and they do sell. What did we have otherwise? Well, I had some bits and pieces in here, including 4 or 5 original State Savings Bank cheques. Now, it doesn't actually say it's a cheque. There's no cheque number, but it's a State Savings Bank of Victoria, pay such and such or bearer in the 1900s. I'd say this is probably 1950s, maybe 40s. It's in pounds, and it has Elmore stamped here and just in ink. So that would be interesting to someone that collects bank ephemera. Don't think it's worth a lot. I might put $5 on the group of them. They're in good condition. And then there's a few other instruction booklets here. Again, mostly 70s era stuff. The Sunbeam cookware, the famous Sunbeam Mixmaster, irons, razors, and there's some pretty good, it's in pretty good condition. There's even a price, $39. So it must have been into the 70s, but it certainly looks that. Great colour photography, and the irons, and even the Sunbeam lawnmower. They'd be worth a bit now. Oh, look at the sunburst clock. Quite collectible, that stuff now. And another lawnmower on the back. So a nice little brochure. I'll probably get $5 for that again. I like to save the old brochures. I have them in a folder in the shop. There's instructions for an electric can opener. I've actually had one of those can openers. They sell quite well. More Sunbeam stuff. So really nice 70s colours, displaying all their wares. So it's essentially a catalogue. There's the Mixmaster. So they will sell well. Now, next we have in with the recipe books, we have some old publications. This is from the Leader, which was a Melbourne newspaper. I don't know when it finished up. It started in the 1800s. I think these are probably 1930s. I think it had a date somewhere. Yeah, 1932. And this was part of a series. This is part 4. There's part 5, part 6, and part 7. They're the only ones I've got. The staples are quite rusty, but they're still holding together. And again, that has recipes in it and collection of home and household hints with kitchen recipes. I'll probably get $10 the lot for those. I had a look online. There's a few on there. They're really not selling, but it's pretty cool old information, including some nice old ads for Laurel Kerosene, Roba Tea. What else have we got? More Roba Tea. Those teapots, the perfect teapots, are quite collectible. They're known as the perfect teapot. I don't know how perfect they were. And more Roba stuff. So $10 a lot on that. Now these ones were a good find. These are the Fowler's Vicola fruit preserving booklets. And there's quite a few of these on eBay and they seem to sell very well. These are in pretty good condition. This one's I think 1952. And it shows all the instructions for preserving fruit, pictures of all the different jars you can get. And they were regularly selling on eBay, all different eras, different dates, from $20 to $30. A few didn't sell, but some of them were quite rough condition. I think that one's at least a $10 one. These ones are earlier. These are 1920s. And they're in great condition for their age. And it shows all the Fowler's paraphernalia, great graphics in here as well. And I think, what date was this? There was a date somewhere. 1924. I think that's worth at least $30. I'll probably throw that on eBay. And I think this one was even the year earlier. I think it was 1923. So they're pretty rare to get these early ones. They turn up, 1925, it was the year after. They turn up in the 50s and 60s much more commonly, but the early ones, especially in this condition, I think I'll throw these on eBay. And I would expect at least $20 each for these two. I might even put this on while I'm going, probably $10 to $15. And people that buy them online, of course, have to pay postage. Not so bad to post these. So good find there. There's at least $50 out of those three. All right, you've seen all the other stuff around the bench, except for these few bits. This is what I'm probably going to give back to the family if I can find a contact for them. This envelope had some early photographs, which I think the family should get. They're not named on the back, but they look sort of 50s era, maybe 40s, and a property. So that I'll try and find a family contact to take those. And I won't open this sheet out. It's just a foolscap sheet, but it's got a lot of early family members and birth dates and just family tree information. So no good to me at all, but I think possibly someone in the family might like that back. This envelope I put here purely because it's the only one I found in the whole lot with an actual stamp on it. I don't think it's of much value. I'll probably group it with some other Australian stamps I've got at the shop, so I won't write down anything for that, but it's nice to see. Dated 1945, nice to see an actual early envelope with a stamp on it, because all the other ones had the stamps torn off. The last stuff to go through here, this is the stuff I'm giving to the Elmore Museum, where the family came from before they moved to the town that I cleaned out their house in. So this goes back, I think, to the parents of the people that I cleaned the house out for. So there's a State Savings Bank pass booklet for Elmore. It was actually for the group, the Elmore Methodist Ladies Guild, and it shows their balances through until, I think it was 1948. Yeah, 1948 was the last date. So no real value to anyone. I had a bit of a look online for these old passbooks. There was a few on there that didn't seem to sell. I think the museum would prefer to have that. We have 2 issues of the Elmore Standard newspaper, 1948 and 1947. We have a book here which is the minutes book, the minutes of meeting held Thursday, September 23, and I think this was 1938. So the minutes of the Methodist Ladies Guild back in 1938. I haven't tried to sit down and read it. It probably isn't very interesting, but to the local town, it probably should be preserved. This is more concerning the Methodist Ladies Guild, and this is a financial journal or a ledger book with a lot of receipts. And a lot of the receipts are to local businesses, general storekeepers and importers from Elmore. So I think this is the sort of stuff that a local museum should keep. So just nothing terribly interesting to the average man in the street, but for the history of a town, I think that should be preserved. And we have more here. This is another book on there. It's a treasurer's book, 1941. Again, a lot more local receipts for general storekeepers and other local businesses. A few more receipts here. And this is another treasurer's book, 1932. We saw this one before. That's just a little advertising booklet from a chemist. And this we saw earlier too, and it is the Elmore Progress Association, 1975. So all that stuff I'm going to donate back to the museum. And that pretty well finishes this box. What a great journey of discovery. And now we move to the ever popular notepad, where I've documented my prices. And we have a total on the other page. I'm just scrolling through these. I think everything was pretty much as I kind of guessed. I did go $20 on that 1906 home cookery book. It's a shame it's not in better condition, but I think someone will appreciate it for what it is. I'm guessing with a lot of these, but, you know, I think they'll sell. Now, the Fowler's books that I'm going to eBay, I've written down 50. They could do a lot better than that. So when I do get around to eBaying them, I will do an episode on my Marketing Online series, which I haven't done for a while, and we'll see how they go. And also, I found this too, which I don't think I showed you. It's also Fowler's Vicola. It's the Vacuum Fruit and Vegetable Bottling Outfits catalogue. Now, not only is it a really cool catalogue, and it opens right out, of all the jars and all the extra little bits and pieces and tools and everything, I think it opens out even further. It's a price list, and it dates August 1924. Now, that's pretty early. I don't think Fowler's Vicola was around for very long before this. So this is pretty early in its life, and a lot of people do collect Fowler's Vicola stuff. Some of the jars can bring big money, and this catalogue would, in very good condition, will be, I would imagine, quite an interest, quite a treasured piece for a Fowler's Vicola collector. I've only allowed $10 for this, but I would expect it would do very well on eBay. So we'll see how we go. But I think I've written that one down over the page, so we don't have a total there. And that little booklet, Lifebuoy, was a soap. In fact, where did I put that? Oh, I don't know where it's gone. Anyway, it was quite a nice booklet. I think we'll try for 10 on some of those because they're fairly early and they're in pretty good condition. Our total, $340. Now, that could be blown out by some good eBay results. We may struggle to sell some of this. I don't know. There's that catalogue. I only put $10 on it. The religious books, I just allowed 30 for them. This one I noticed, I think, had a date there of 1904. So I might even put 10 on that. Might go 5 on the others. So we might do better than 30 there as well. So there we go. What an amazing box of treasures. And I do like going through old paperwork. It's very interesting. I find myself reading magazines, looking at the ads, and it takes a long time to get the job done sometimes. But I managed to keep focused today and get all this sorted out. So now I'll take it all off to the shop. And if anyone's interested in any of this, I don't usually do postage on smaller stuff, but a lot of these things, particularly the Fowler stuff, although I do want to try them on eBay, but a lot of these other booklets, I would be probably happy to post these out because I can really just drop them in an envelope. So if anything here strikes your fancy at the prices I've listed, I think I put $10 on the 2 Aspro books that are in good condition and 10 for the pair on the other 2. So yeah, I'd consider posting those out if you're interested, but we will follow up down the track as we do with these notepads and just see what sells, and we'll see how the eBay items go. So with the total today, we've cleared the $25,000 mark. It's just amazing what's coming out of these boxes. This one was a lot of fun. Hopefully it'll be quite profitable for me, some good stock for the shop, and I hope the museum appreciates the bits, and I've got to try and get those photos back to the family at some stage, but I'll put them aside for now because there's probably more boxes from this house clean out in that storage shed. So we'll get through them in due course. Thanks for watching. Thanks for following the journey, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye for now.